So there was one movie that Michael Jackson wanted to do really badly, and he begged for an audition and couldn't even get in the room. And this is 1990, like peak 90s. He's just done Bad. He's already done The Wiz with his boo Diana, Captain EO, Moonwalker, and I also count Thriller because that was cinematic excellence and directed by John Landis. So that's in there. So he loves film, and he's looking for that one big role that's going to push him over into the film industry. And he is like a charming actor, right? And he finds one role, and he's pretty sure it's perfect for him. So he starts petitioning. He's calling everybody that he can to try to get into this director's office, and he cannot. The director won't even see him. Now, Tom Hanks was considered, but he passed it over to go work on The Bonfire of the Vanities. And Tom Cruise was also considered, even though he was a much larger star than this director wanted. But the problem was Tom Cruise wanted the main character to have a happy ending, and that just wasn't going to happen. But this was Michael in 1987, and this movie came out in 1990. He already had the outfit 3 years prior. But the director had come up with the idea for this film when he looked at a drawing that he had done of himself from high school. Tall, lanky, long fingers. This little guy. He had already hired his woman lead for the film, and he was looking for the male lead, for somebody that was relatively unknown and just kind of fit the vibe, but he didn't know what that was. But lucky for him, the woman lead that he'd already hired had a boyfriend who'd done a little bit of acting at this time. This guy said that when this guy walked in, he just kind of reminded him of himself, just like white, middle-class trash. And that was literally perfect. Now, of course, we all know that the story of a man who was created by a sort of father figure and was isolated from the world, and when the world found him, decided to use him for what they could until they found out that he wasn't what they thought. Then they turned on him and he had to go back into hiding. Of course, we all know it would have been pretty on the nose, especially when you consider how quiet Michael was and how quiet Edward was. But it's fair to say that Tim Burton probably didn't see much of himself in a famous black boy from Gary, Indiana. But I can't even lie, this would have gone crazy. And keep in mind, this is the role that pretty much made Johnny famous and solidified his partnership with Tim Burton. So we could have had Mike in this, or this, or this, or this. Yep. So the next time you watch Edward Scissorhands, you don't necessarily have to think about this, but I hope you always remember that this guy looked at this guy and said, yep, that's pretty much me. And I love that for him.